Hey YouTube land, Tech Hunter Sir doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at more, well, I haven't done them in a while, but we're looking at Masters of the Universe. I know I did the Turtles of Grayskull line, I had to look at some of the figures on that, but I'm jumping ship to Masters and Masters of the Universe Origins, and I managed to pick up these two locally. Now, they are very, very scarce on the ground, I will say that. The place I got them only seemed to get one of each, so I managed to get each of these figures. They seem to only have one box, which is one of each character. There's 4 characters in the wave. I picked up three of the 4 characters, but I only have 2 in hand at the moment. I'm waiting on one of them to arrive. But this is the Lord Gr'asp, or Gr'asp, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and Terroar. They are both Snake Men from the Snake Men line, or Snake Men subline of Masters of the Universe, and these are kind of obscure character Snake Men, because these were never initially released as part of the original wave, or the original line, but I believe they're based on concept sketches for what they were going to do when they were going to continue the line. So I believe that they were part of the Eternia, was it Battle for Eternia or something along those lines? And they would have focused on these figures. They're mostly a bunch of reused parts. So I'm going to flip the boxes around for both of these. And if I do so without knocking everything over, which would be nice, you can see the boxes are the European variant of these things. So if I just adjust my camera up a slight bit, you might be able to see the artwork on them. There we go. So you see the artwork is on both. There's a really cool image of Terror versus it looks like Battlegrounds Tila on the Turbodactyl, and in the background there is a pristine white version of Castle Grayskull, which is a kind of cool look to it. I think it's supposed to be when it was first built, maybe, or it is during the time of King Grayskull's era. I'm not too sure on how these, what time period these are set from, because I know the Snake Men predate Skeletor and all those. They were like a pre-Eternia, or pre-Eternia force that tried to conquer Eternia before Skeletor was on the scene and the Horde were a thing. So, and on Lord Gr'asp's, you have him fighting, I can't remember the name of him. He was in, I think he came in this actual set that the original classics versions came in, because the reason I'm reviewing the two of these together is because I believe they were both part of a 3-pack, which came with these two and this guy, which I cannot remember his name. And then in the background you see Megator, the Turbodactyl again, and I can't really make out, I think it's Strobo is riding the Turbodactyl, who is a kind of obscure version of not Stratos, what's his name, Zodak, with kind of with Cyclone's body, but instead of the lenticular sticker, it's like a mirror sticker he has on his chest. I do have the classics version of him, but unfortunately I do not have the classics versions of these guys to do a comparison with, but I can do a rundown on what parts were used for these guys. So I'm just readjusting my camera. I'll bring it up a bit because Terror's neck is really, really heavy. Or not heavy, really long. So we'll start with Lord Gr'asp. Lord Gr'asp is probably the easiest of them to name the parts out of, because he is fairly simplistic. He has the standard He-Man body buck. His right arm is Clawful's arm, except for up here, because I think, does Clawful have anything on the wrist? Nope, actually, Clawful's arm from everything down, it would be his arm. He does come with the shield that comes with King Hiss. In fact, I think it's a different icon on it, though. I could be wrong. It is the same icon that is on King Hiss. So it is the same shield, just done in that kind of minty, almost mint green, pale green color. He comes with a cloak. This cloak is a reuse of Scareglow's cloak. It is the same way they did him in Classics as well. They reused Scareglow's cloak for that. His head is from Squeeze, and it's done in black with that yellow highlighting, which looks really striking on this guy. His overall color scheme is fairly simplistic. He's black with yellow. The weird thing about his claw, his pincher claw, is it looks like a giant wasp tail or thorax. It's kind of weird. It has that kind of almost wasp style yellow and red to it, or hornet yellow and red to it. It's kind of weird looking, but it looks cool. In fact, this design, the scale pattern on him as well, going down his legs and on his arms, has a very honeycomb look to it, which is kind of interesting as well. But he has all the same articulation as the standard Masters Universe, so you can move his arms out that much, rotate him around. Head is on a ball joint. He does have the waist swivel. Again, just like with all the Origins figures, these guys are designed to be pop apartable. So you can pop them off the waist, you can pop the shoulders out, you can pop the head off, you can remove at the boot, you can pop the hands out at the wrist, and you can swap them with other figure parts. So if you wanted He-Man to have these kind of bright orangey boots, you can do so. One other accessory he comes with is a black version of the snake staff. Now, I haven't really gotten him to hold it really well. You can kind of get him to grasp it a bit on his grasp hand, if you want to call it. So you can kind of hold it that way, but it's all the promo kind of stuff I've seen, he's holding it in this hand, which means you have to kind of push this shield back further. I'm just a little wary of doing so. If I just pop it off his hand, because it is quite a small, narrow clip. If you were to put it up there, it puts a lot of pressure on these clips. It seems to fit best here just by the wrist, where it's lower. So again, as I said, you can rotate this as well. So if you want them to have it more of a kind of side buckler type shield, you can do it that way, or just kind of a full-on shield, you can do that as well. So, but all in all, he's not too bad. He's quite a nice figure, and he does, if I can understand, his claw does make him a little bit front heavy, depending on which way you have it. We'll get in the old tape measure. So you can see he stands around 5.5 inches, just a hair off 6. So he's tall enough when you have the legs kind of splayed out to the full length, but he is quite nice. So that brings us to Terroar. He again is a reuse of parts. So the rundown on this guy, for the most part, he reuses Rattler, or is it General Rattler? He reuses his body, his tail, his left hand or left arm from everything down to the hand, his torso, his neck extension is also from Rattler, and then that's where things start changing. So his head, is you can see clearly, is a reuse of Whiplash. So Whiplash is kind of a weird choice for a Snake Man head. I know he's kind of a lizard, but he's not very snake looking. It is a weird kind of choice. He looks more reptilian than a snake. If that makes sense, he looks more like a crocodilian head than a snake head, whereas the others actually have a kind of more snake-like head. This guy looks more like a lizard man with a snake body. So it is that. He has trap jaws, right arm, with all his accoutrements, is that the right word? All his bits and bobs are attached to it. Now, the interesting thing, I haven't tried popping this one off. I don't think this one pops out. I could be wrong. Oh no, it does pop out. Interesting thing is this shoulder pad, even though it is a separate piece, is glued onto his body, similar to how they did it with Trapjaw. So, if you looked at the original Trapjaw, now this is the first, not original Trapjaw going back to the 80s, but the original Origins Trapjaw. This shoulder pad was sculpted onto the body, whereas some of the later versions that used Trapjaw's parts, as in the comic book version of Trapjaw, used a standard book with a shoulder pad piece on it. And in fact, I think the first use of that thing where this shoulder pad was a separate piece wasn't part of the Masters of the Universe Origins line, but it was the WWE Masters of the WWE line, where they had a Stone Cold Steve Austin rebuilt. I believe it was Stone Cold. I think it was Stone Cold. I can picture Stone Cold for some reason, and he has like a metal jaw, and he has this shoulder pad with a silver version of this. It's this in silver with this arm in silver, and he had the silver attachments. And I believe that was the first use of that kind of separate style thing, because you could take that completely off him and just if you had a spare normal arm, you could turn him back into a normal kind of semi-normal wrestler. But that is beside the point. So just like with Trapjaw, this guy comes with all the different attachments. So you got the laser blast hand, which is on him. You have the hook hand, which is there, and you even have those little pincher hands. I believe this is also the same way he came in the original Classics version, and would have been the way he was originally intended to come as well, because as I said, these guys are based on vintage artwork for the original line. If I can find images of it, I'll try and throw it in on here or somewhere, or have it pop up so you can see what they would have looked like. But as I said, his lower legs then is essentially Mosquitoors. So he has the same boots Mosquitoor has, and he has that big chunky foot, the kind of big robotic foot that Mosquitoor has. So he's a mishmash of parts, as is Lord Gr'asp. So they aren't exactly new, but they are new characters, just reused parts. And then both of which come with one of these. This is the pack-in comic book that comes with it. You can see it's Snake Armor Skeletor on the cover with Lord Gr'asp, and I can't remember what this guy's called, but he actually has a figure coming out, or his figure is already out, and you can see his head is very similar to Fangman's head, which I'm assuming that we will get a Fangman eventually down the line. So because this is the European or international comic, pack-in mini comic, we have no speech bubbles at all. So you have no idea what's going on. All I know is here is Lord Gr'asp sitting there, where there's a picture of, what's her name? Lady Slither. There's some really cool looking snake shuttle looking thing. I'm assuming there's some backstory about why they're trying to take over Eternia. There's Terroar, Lord Gr'asp, Lady Slither, Viper. This guy is called. He's also a homage to the Viper Tower that comes with the Eternia playset. You have Snake Armor, He-Man there for some reason. We flip around, you got another bunch of Snake Men. You got that guy, which I can't remember his name. You got Skeletor picking up some sort of doohickey. You got this guy. Interestingly enough, he actually has a horde-looking crossbow, so I'm assuming that's what he's packed with. You have Skeletor doing something, and this guy shooting that shuttle, it looks like. And then I think it's something to do with Skeletor basically controlling them. Is there another page in this? Nope. I thought there was a page where... Oh yeah, I passed by it. There's a part where Lord Gr'asp gets shot by, I think it's this guy, who's under mind control of Skeletor, from what it looks like. Or it's something along those lines. I could be waffling. Then you have that classic collector which is Skeletor's ship, which is getting a figure, or getting a release. And then you have King Hiss here, and it looks like he's, once Lady Slither and all their goons and stuff kind of leave, it looks like King Hiss is on the scene to take over from where Lord Gr'asp failed. Or at least that's what it looks like in the comic, and that could be my iteration of it. It could be completely off, because there is no speech bubbles, because for some reason they think people in, they must think people in international waters are illiterate and can't read or something, and they don't put any speech bubbles into these things. Same with on the back of the boxes. As I said, they don't have any write-up for the characters. They don't even have, they used to have swing into battle positions written there onto the back, where you had, or pose in battle poses or whatever it was. They don't even have that. And they don't even have, on the American version, I'm assuming there's a small blurb for, you know, each character on the back of the box, because they do that for the Masters, the European, or the US versions of the Turtles of Grayskull, but they don't do it for the European versions of the Turtle of Grayskull, which is weird. So that's me done ranting about that. I'll shut up about the lack of speech bubbles in the comic, but it would be nice to have them in it for some reason. Even, I think it's because they don't want to print it so many times in different languages, they just leave them blank, and it just is kind of annoying. But there you go, folks. There is a quick review for Lord Gr'asp and Terroar from the Masters of the Universe line. Hopefully you enjoyed my waffle about them, and you will enjoy this video. And as I said, I will try and do my best to add some to get to my 5k count for the summer, hopefully, and I'll try and get better at doing editing and adding in different stuff and things to my videos, just to make them a bit more fun and enjoyable. But thanks for sticking around and watching this one to the end, and as always, have a great day. Cheers.